25. We welcome.
Mr. Chair, point of order, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have been a member of this committee for 5 years now, and I take pride in the work of this committee, and I take particular pride in the fact that this is a committee that has traditionally been collaborative, and we work together to get to the bottom of things and do the work that constituents and residents and Canadians expect of us to do. But we've always worked together. We've always worked together. Let me get to my point, please.
You can get to the point of order, please.
And for the last 5 years, every single chair, and there's been multiple chairs chairing this committee, has always sought instruction from committee members whenever an action was to be taken. And that is a bedrock principle of how this committee has conducted itself for 5 years. Point of order, Mr. Chair. Please allow me to continue. This is important.
No, but please get your point of order, please, Mr. Kuzmierczuk.
I am. Last week, a meeting was called without consultation and instruction of this committee. This week, we had 2 meetings scheduled without consultation or instruction or consent from this committee. A witness today was invited yesterday. We found out about this witness at 7 p.m. last night. There was no consultation, no instruction from this committee. And tomorrow we found out from Global News that there may be another meeting tomorrow with additional witnesses. And again, no instruction, no consultation. And so I'm asking the chair to explain to this committee, because this is completely out of tradition and the way we've operated in the last 5 years on this committee. This is something that is
Mr. Chair, I've been very patient. I have not heard any section or any valid point of order. I'd
like to ask the chair to explain how this meeting came about. I have a few questions for the chair, how this meeting came about, what efforts were made by the chair to consult with members of this committee and seek instruction. And a further question, why is this meeting being held today on a constituency week? And why is this witness here before us here today? And so this is a point of order. This is outside of the tradition of how this committee has conducted itself over the last 5 years.
I'm going to cut you off there to get to an answer.
To explain his actions.
Sure. Well, first of all, to start, it's not a valid point of order, but I will answer your questions. The premiers, representing over 60% of the population, wrote to the Chair of Finance to address the issue of the increase of the carbon tax. The Liberal Chair, maybe under political pressure from his own party, refused to. As the premiers are the highest office holders in their provinces, representing millions and millions of Canadians, I thought we should respect the provinces and invite the premiers to participate in our study of the estimates, which includes the government spending, including the carbon tax. There's lots of examples of other chairs doing such things. It is the privilege and obligation, I think, of the chair to call meetings, and I did so. I'm happy to go through some of the examples of other chairs from government-led parties doing the same, but it is within the prerogative of the chair to call such meetings, and I did. And we're ready to start the meeting.
Mr. Chair, again, point of order. Section 108 of the standing orders clearly states that committee members instruct the chair on any action. And so I ask you again, what instruction, what consultation, even basic consultation, did the chair undertake to schedule this week's meetings, including the meeting that, again, we hear is going to be scheduled for tomorrow, and to seek again, instruction from this committee? I think it's really important because this is a departure. Folks that are listening, I want them to know that this is a departure from the way we've conducted business at OGO Committee for 5 years. This is new.
Yeah, it is within the powers and the prerogatives of the chair to call meetings, Mr. Kuzmierczuk. Our clerk is looking at the exact quote ruling, if you wish, but it is fully within the powers of the chair. For example, the Liberal Chair of Natural Resources called a meeting without anyone's knowledge in order to ram through the anti-Alberta, anti-energy industry
Point of order.
C-250. So it has been done in the past. And yeah, please let me finish, Ms. Outland. It is fully within the powers of the chair to call such meetings, and I have. Go ahead, Ms. Outland.
Mr. Chair, I think you're taking a little bit of liberty there, insinuating that there's some sort of liberal government was pushing our liberal chair in another committee not to have these meetings. I'm certainly they're respecting the time and commitments of their committee members.
That's not a point of order, Ms. Outland.
I'm getting there, actually, Mr. Chair. I would actually like to highlight your own bias in making this decision. I'm noticing the stickers that have always been present as props in this committee. You love pipelines and oil and gas, and it's very clear. And so perhaps that had a stake in this decision that you've made today.
Mr. Chair, that's not a valid point of order.
It's not a valid point of order. I do. So let me finish. Yeah. I do love oil and gas. If it bothers you, I will close my laptop. Mr. Drouin and Mr. Lawrence, and then we're going to start the meeting.
So I'm not a regular member of this committee, but I've been a member of this committee for 6 years. Never would Tom Lukiski, a good Saskatchewan MP, have done this. Never in his lifetime would he have done this.
That's not a point of
and
order.
And the precedent that you are setting, Mr. Chair, is that I can tell you your side will be pissed off with us because we'll call meetings at our disposal and your side will not be happy with us.
That is the chair's
If that's the way you want to set the precedence of this committee, I'm telling you, we're going to challenge you.
Okay. That is the chair's prerogative to call a meeting if he wishes. If another committee wishes to do
Mr. Chair,
so,
if you're saying that no motions and no instructions from the chair must be undertaken from now on, that is false. That is simply false.
I'm going to read to you, and for Mr. Kuzmierczuk as well. Committee chairs have considerable administrative responsibilities, starting with those involving the committee's program of activities and compliance. With instructions from the committee or an order from the House, the chair calls committee meetings. So,
well, Mr. Chair, point of order, and I believe exactly. I think you said it right there, and it bears repeating. It bears repeating. In compliance with instructions from the committee. In compliance with instructions from the committee. In compliance with instructions from the committee.
Yeah, let me
Mr. Chair, you have neither sought.
Let me interrupt you on that, Mr.
Nor consultation from this committee.
Mr. Kuzmierczuk, let me address that.
You have acted unilaterally outside the will of this committee. That is the issue that I have with you, sir. If you want to schedule meetings with witnesses, work with committee members. That's the way we've always done it. Past chairs have always respected that principle.
Please let me address your point of order.
Today. That is the issue that I have with you today.
If I could respond, I will address that. We are meeting on the estimates, the 2024-25 estimates, which the committee has agreed to. That is what our meeting is on today, and that is what I noted when I did my opening statement under Standing Order 81 for the committee's meeting to commence the consideration of the main estimates 2025.
And why did you schedule this meeting today on a constituency week? May I ask, Mr. Chair, so that folks watching can know this?
This is going to be
the study on the main estimates. When is it due, Mr. Chair? When is the study, the committee study on the estimates due?
We are meeting on the estimates. I have the prerogative to call a meeting on the estimates that the committee agreed to. We are now going to turn.
When is it due, sir?
That is beside the point, Mr. Kuzmierczuk.
May 31st.
That's nice.
May 31st.
That's fine.
May
We're now
31st.
going to turn things over to
Mr. Chair, point of order. I just want to clarify to this committee, you've mentioned main estimates, and I'll remind that this committee is responsible for Vote 1 under Canada Post Corporation, Vote 1 under Canada School of Public Service, Vote 1 under Canadian Intergovernmental Conference Secretary. So I'm hoping that Premier Moe will be able to answer questions about Canada Post Corporations. I'm not sure he will be because that's not his responsibility. So again, we're asking for.
I will quote once, and then we're going to get to.
With the consent of committee. You did not get the consent of committee.
Mr. Moe in the main estimates, CRA, distribution of fuel charges.
This committee is not responsible for
noting that
CRA.
$6.8 billion going to 9.5, but it's the part of the main estimates, and we are studying the main estimates.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Duran,
Mr.
we
Chair,
should
I've been a long-time member of this committee before my appearance here. I understand what this committee is responsible, and you're misleading committee.
Point of order, Mr.
CRA
Chair.
goes to
You've been
finance, and
very
you know
patient.
damn well that's where it goes.
Okay.
You've been very.
First of all, refrain from the language, Mr. Druin.
Pardon my French.
Mr. Chair, you've been very patient, and I could recite numerous times that Peter Fonseca, Chair of the Finance, has adjourned and called without instructions. I could rattle them off, Francis. So this is ridiculous. Let's move on. We've got the Premier Mo. I know that you guys don't want to talk about the carbon tax and you don't want to hear from the people of Saskatchewan, but Canadians do.
Thanks, our Premier Mo. We're going to turn things.
Mr. Chair, I have a point of order. And this is going to be my last point of order, but it needs to be made. You called the meeting unilaterally without instruction or consultation with the members of this committee. That is a fundamental bedrock principle. And furthermore, you called this meeting on the mains. The deadline to study this is May 31st. There is no reason to call this meeting during a constituency week when we literally have 2.5 months to study the mains. This is a political stunt and theater, which is part and parcel of where our conservative colleagues are taking this to get clips.
Can you get to your point of order, please? Speaking of
That
getting
is my
clips.
point. That is my point, sir. You unilaterally called a meeting that was not necessary this week because your team is after clips.
Okay,
and
thanks.
And again, I take issue and umbrage with that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but it's not a valid point of order. Ms. Vignola, then hopefully we can get to our honourable guests. Ms. Vignola, go ahead, please.
I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I simply wanted to add to the facts in this matter. According to the standing orders, meetings must be called 48 hours in advance. And members of the committee must be informed, or at the very least consulted in the choice of witnesses, which is not the case and which has not been the case for some time. And contrary to what my colleague to my right would dare to claim, well, that I'm not interested in hearing about Saskatchewans. Well, it actually is important for me to see all perspectives. Even in Quebec, the carbon tax doesn't apply, and yet it's important to hear from all stakeholders, all perspectives. Now, that said, I would like now to denounce the methods that are being used in going about this. Had we been informed, we probably would have given our consent. Let's hear from these witnesses. However, we were not informed, we were not consulted, and as Deputy Chair of this committee, I find this to be a great pity, not only in terms of my own preparation and my own research in preparation for a meeting, but also, of course, it's important to give witnesses the time and to ask questions of them that have to do with the matters that we are currently studying, regardless of whether it's the estimates or another issue or matter. Now, not only is there a requirement for 48 hours notice when there's a request made to hold a meeting, but during a non-sitting week. This is a constituency week, which are invaluable to all of us, for all of us. And, you know, perhaps you're only thinking of the next election, but I think of my constituents in Port-Limoilou that want to see me, that want to meet with me, that want to talk to me about the situations that they're facing when it comes to employment insurance, seniors, retirement benefits, immigration issues. I have a huge number of people that are knocking on my door seeking my support, and that's just not possible in this instance. Now, obviously, during a non-sitting week, committees should take place, meetings should take place during the same time slots as during sitting weeks. And that is not the case in the case of yesterday and tomorrow. You know, we learned in the global news that there'll also be a meeting tomorrow, even though we received that notice of meeting at 9:45 this morning. And I am deeply troubled. There should be greater respect displayed to each other. Respect for our work, for our duties. Mr. Chairperson, on a point of order.
Moi, j'ai beaucoup de respect.
I have a lot of respect for the member. However, this is not a point of order.
Mr. Lawrence is right. If you could get to your point of order, Mrs. Vignola.
Mais écoutez, je faisais référence au règlement de la Chambre des...
Well, listen, I was referring to the House of Commons Standing Orders, 20th of June 2024, regarding notice required. And if this is not a point of order that I'm raising, what is it? That speaks to a problem here. If I'm not just talking about anything willy-nilly.
Him specifically, sorry.
Fait que c'est quand même assez clair.
Well, I thought it was quite clear what I was saying. I'm referring to the standing orders. This isn't coming out of nowhere.
I've had one answer, but we're double checking. If you want, or if you wish, bear with me, we'll suspend for a couple seconds and we'll just reconfirm. We're suspended for a couple moments.
Wow, this is going to be quite the meeting. Anyone that's new to the channel, please like and subscribe to help support the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you can be notified right away whenever I become live or release a new video. Anyone that's who would like to can help support the channel by purchasing a super chat or sticker or becoming a member even.
$48 is for election of the chair, and then there's a different time period for 106.4s, but not specifically to call a meeting. So, well, I appreciate your comments. We are going to proceed. Premier Mo, the floor is yours for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chair, point of order
I've turned it over to Mr. Mo, our Premier Mo. Could you?
This is about, Mr. Chair, this is about Standing Order 108, which you have not addressed here, that states, and again, I want you to address it to this committee, that states, in compliance with instructions from the committee or an order from the House, the chair calls committee meetings, decides on the agenda.
Mr.
You have done none of those things. You have done none of those things. And it is a shame and a farce, as Madame Vignal has
stated, get your clip in, Mr. Kuzmierczak, and then I will address this.
That we have learned about tomorrow's meeting from global news as opposed from our chair. That is a farce. That is a farce. And it's a violation of the bedrock principles of the way that this committee has conducted its work over the last 5 years. That is shameful. It is shameful and disrespectful to the work of this committee. And as Madame Vignal has stated, we want to be able to prepare for our witnesses. We want to be able to have due preparation so that we can do the work that Canadians expect us to do. We have neither been provided any opportunity to consult. We've been provided no opportunity to provide instruction, and we have not been provided opportunity to prepare for this day. And that is on the chair. And you have not responded to Standing Order 108.
I have responded to that, Mr. Kuzmierczak. It is, the committee has instructed me to hold meetings on the estimates, and that's what this meeting is on the main estimates. So I have ruled on that. We're now going to turn things over to Premier Moe for a 5-minute opening statement.